Yeah, alright, guys. We are back, guys. Shout out to the subs, man. And of course, shout out to everybody who's watching these guys. Whether this is your first time watching one or you've been watching the whole marathon, shout out to you. So, guys, yeah, you already know. So it's nothing but old weird stuff, Halloween related stuff, but just old stuff. So, guys, we got a good one today. I've never seen this, but I'm assuming it's gonna be fire because This Is Your Life. If you guys never seen that show, go look. Well, you'll watch it right now. Actually, I was gonna say go look at it. We'll watch it right now. And it's Boris Karloff. So This Is Your Life is a dope old show. The guys, just get into it.
This is Your Life, a program for all America. And now here he is, Mr. This Is Your Life himself, Ralph Edwards.
Ralph Edwards, guys. This is your life, guys.
Thank you very much for being with us on This Is Your Life. Tonight, let's turn the lights on over there by the double door and watch carefully to see what happens. Our honored guest, whom we're about to surprise tonight, is known to all of you as one of the truly great and beloved stars of the theater, motion pictures, radio, and television. Pan the camera quickly, please. He's not coming through those doors because he's seated right there innocently, watching our producer's monitor. Tonight, This Is Your Life, Boris Karloff.
The whole thing is that the person doesn't know that that's about to happen. That's like the whole thing.
I do mean it. All right, pal, come here. Boris, I think we really put the... Oh, my.
She's all shocked.
Believe me, is
That's
the
fucking
greatest
crazy.
shocker, I think, of all time. He has been giving shocks all his life tonight. Boris, it wasn't as easy as it might seem for us. What could be more natural than to have your good friends, Jane and Mill Stone, invite you and your lovely wife, Evie, to dinner, and to include Barbara and Ralph Edwards in the invitation, and why not see Ralph's show first and then go on from there. We've done it many times before, I think about 3 or 4 times the last couple of months, right, Boris?
And how many years have I been trusting you?
The most obvious ruse is often the best. Seriously, Boris, we've been looking forward to this night for a long, long time. I'm sure our audience is in for as many surprises.
Guys, it's gonna be fire, guys. Yo,
when they
I'm
learn
excited.
that the
I'm hyped,
Frankenstein
guys.
monster, the bogeyman of the screen, is actually one of the kindest, most warm-hearted men among us, into whose arms little children run almost instinctively, well, this is the story we're going to tell tonight. So come along, Boris Karloff, to our stage and to our chair of honor. Evie, we'll see you later. Axe, will you take... he's pulling out Evie. Take Axe.
Yeah, guys, this is gonna be a good one, guys. I'm hyped. I never saw this
we're
one.
doing about a world of explanation here in about 30 seconds. You've played hundreds of parts on the stage and pictures on radio and television, but your role here tonight is completely new, isn't it?
It is indeed.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it, so sit back and relax.
What did you say?
This Is Your Life, Boris Karloff.
Yeah, baby
Boris
Boris.
Karloff, that's a Slavic name, but you're not Russian, are you?
No, not really.
You were born in...
I was born in Dulwich, England.
When did you take the name of Boris Karloff?
Well, when I first went on the stage, 1910, actually, up in Western Canada.
Why did you change your name, Boris?
Well, it was a family name on my mother's side, and I thought my own name of Pratt, if I ever got known in the theatre, might be unfortunate.
What was your real name?
Pratt.
George
Pratt, like
William
a pratfall.
William Henry Pratt. The
William
youngest of 9
Henry
children,
Pratt,
your father
crazy.
dies when you're just a baby, Boris. So you're brought up by your mother and your older brothers and your sister. As a boy, you attend school at Uppingham.
I'm afraid the young Bill Pratt was not a very distinguished scholar at Uppingham.
Now, I'll bet you haven't the slightest notion who that is, Boris. You
So many people could have said that.
Gentlemen, in
That's
1907, 50 years ago, we've brought him here tonight from Edgbaston, Birmingham, England. Your schoolmate of 50 years ago at Uppingham. Here is Jeffrey Taylor. Jeff Taylor. Jeffrey remembers, and that's fantastic.
I can't say a word.
Now look here, Bill, I've brought you a little memento. The old
the tie.
You say Boris or Bill,
Guys,
you
this
call
is
him,
so
wasn't much of a
fire.
student. I can't believe that, Mr. Taylor.
Well, not as you'd notice it.
No.
Why, even then, Bill, your first love was cricket, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you
yes.
played for the House 11?
Yeah, well, after a fashion.
Yes, and for rugger as well.
Yes, after a fashion too.
Now, do you remember?
You were on the running eight.
I was.
You
I
were?
was.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now, do you remember how we used to walk down the hill to early morning school?
Indeed I do.
And how we all ran the last bit.
Always late, and the door being closed in our faces. Oh,
Do you remember the Leicester Mile?
yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes, and that
And the cross-country runs that used to wind up there.
yes, always.
Yes.
And you remember that shop in the High Street by Weldon's, where we used to get the
Baldwin.
was it Bald? No, Baldwin's was the
That was the sports shop.
Guys,
I may have to step in here any moment.
guys, this is crazy.
Where we used to get those, fruit salads. Yes, with the cream and the bananas.
yes,
and everything.
yes.
Now, boys, I can see you two fellas could go on for hours reliving your school days. I promise you can carry on at the party in your honor, Boris, right after the show at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel where Mr. Taylor, all your friends would say, thank you, Mr. Jeffrey Taylor of Birmingham, England, for being with us tonight. 1907, at your family's insistence, you enrolled at King's College in London to prepare for the consular service, but you already had an eye on the theater as a career, so in 1909, your mother having passed away, you leave King's College, Boris, and take ship for the greener pastures of Canada. As an actor, what?
No, I worked as a farmhand to start with.
Yes, you work your way westward across Canada to Vancouver, British Columbia. While waiting for that first acting job, how did you make a living?
Well, I cleared land, shoveled coal, laid streetcar tracks, did all sorts of
everything.
Then
Whatever
you
the
hear
fuck
that
you
the
gotta
Gene
do.
Russell Players in Kamloops are in need of an
whatever you
experienced
gotta do.
actor. You apply and are accepted, but you hadn't any professional experience, had you?
None whatsoever.
Your only experience was, I think, at 10. What did you do in a play then?
Well, at that time I used to live in Enfield, and every year at Christmas time they did a sort of a pantomime for 2 nights, and I played the Demon King in Cinderella.
And what was the play you made your professional debut in, Boris?
My golly, that was prophetic too. That was The Devil by Franz Molnar.
Well, you're learning your craft as you play with one stock company after another, rattling across the United States and Canada, moving from boarding house to boarding house, and often appearing in 2 different plays a week.
In 1915, you're with the Harry St. Clair Stock Company in Minot, North Dakota. Boris, again appearing in Cinderella. But this time, instead of the demon, you were one of the ugly sisters.
Another voice that you won't recognize, or a voice, because you did recognize Mr. Taylor, though you knew it well 42 years ago when he was chief errand boy and general helper at the Opera House here from Minot, North Dakota, where he's president of his own advertising company, Mr. J. Warren Bacon. Warren Bacon. You have no way to remember this boy, I think. Oh, yes. Now you have a...
Boris, I too have a small memento of your years in Minot. It's a picture of the old rooming house where you used to live.
Oh, yes.
One of those gables, I wonder. Did you
remember
hold it? The next part Boris played was Charlie's aunt, wasn't it, Warren?
Yes, he could play any part convincingly.
How did the people of Minot like Boris Karloff? Warren?
Well, and in spite of the fact that he played mostly villain roles, they loved Boris. And to give you an idea, George Magnuson used to keep the drugstore fountain open at night so you could go there and have a Coke after
He's right across the street.
Right across the street.
Thank you, J. Warren Bacon of Minot, North Dakota. Thank you.
Guys, how fire is this show,
1919
right?
now, Boris.
Right.
We find you in San Francisco. The Robert Lawrence Stock Company, of which you're a member, is playing the Majestic Theater there, south of the slot.
It was at the old Majestic, Boris, 38 years ago, that I shared a dressing room with you.
Well, now you haven't seen this fellow actor in 25 years. He's now sales manager of the Culligan Development Company in San Mateo, California. Here is James Edwards. Jim Edwards.
Hiya, Boris.
Hiya, Boris. Yo, guys, I need all that old stuff, guys.
What have you...
Boris, the Nasser brothers, the owners of a chain of theaters in the San Francisco area, want you to have these doorknobs. They're the same knobs that your hand touched every time you went in and out of our dressing room.
That's crazy.
What do you remember about Boris at the Majestic Theater back in 1919 and 20, Jim?
Well, Boris was a very capable character actor, Ralph, and he was tremendously popular with children. And it was a common sight to see Boris striding down Mission Street, smiling happily, and always followed by an admiring group of 6 or 8 small fry.
He was a hard-working
small
actor.
fry.
Yes, indeed he was, Ralph. I can still see Boris sitting in the dressing room hour after hour, working with grease paint, nose putty, crepe hair, and wigs, trying to perfect the art of changing his appearance.
Anything to cover myself up, in other words.
And Boris, believe me, what you taught yourself in that dressing room certainly paid in your movie days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us. James Edwards of San Mateo, California.
Guys, he was like so happy.
I could wear them, yes, as you used to. Well, wait, we haven't come to that
I have a
part.
second
You can't
pen,
tell
don't
what
worry,
we
guys.
have for that there, Boris.
Don't worry,
How
guys,
the
I don't just
tools
have
of
one
the
pen. Come on, I
art
got a
of
second
makeup
pen.
and your insistence on perfection raised you to sudden and unexpected stardom. In Hollywood, we'll learn in just a moment. This is your life, Boris Karloff. Well, Boris, English schoolboy, Canadian farmer, stock actor. How many years did you spend playing
It's good,
stock
it's not the
for?
same as a
Oh,
show.
10 or 11 years.
Like the highs not the
A
same.
training ground for
A
proficiency.
very good training ground.
Very few actors today have had. And here in 1920, Hollywood is just around the
Pretty good,
corner.
though.
This is your
Still
life,
pretty lit.
Boris Karloff. How did you make the trip from San Francisco to Los Angeles, Boris?
On a lumber schooner.
A lumber schooner?
With so heavy a deck load, there was no place to sit.
You started in pictures as an extra, didn't you?
Yes.
What was the
Pictures.
movie you call?
Pictures.
I think it was a Doug
Pictures.
Fairbanks picture.
A Doug
His
Fairbanks
Majesty the
picture.
American.
Yes.
But I played an extra in a sort of a revolutionary army. I think I was the 13th from the left in the back row somewhere.
The jobs for extras and bit players are not too frequent. So what kind of work did you do in between picture jobs?
Well, I got myself a job in a building material yard with George L. Eastman. Eventually I drove a truck there.
Is it? And then one hot
Or as
summer.
Jeff would say, a lorry.
Ah, yes. You can't get over that Jeffrey Taylor is here. Is it from Edgbaston? One hot summer day in 1930, walking along Hollywood Boulevard, you drop in the offices of the Actors Equity Association, more to get out of the heat and rest your tired feet than anything else. And casually you ask if there's anything going on in the way of casting, and what did the man say?
He said, are you working? And I said, at the moment, no. And he sent me downtown to try out for parts in a play downtown.
You recall the play?
A play called The Criminal Code. I shall always remember it.
You get the part at the Velasco, but what's more important, this leads to your playing the same role in the motion picture
In
of
the film,
Criminal Code.
Yeah.
This is followed by a good part in Young Donovan's Kid with Richard Dix and Jackie Cooper. And then... Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. The part that made you immortal to moviegoers.
It took us about 4 hours in the morning. Put the Frankenstein face and the head on, Boris. And nearly an hour to take it off. The whole outfit weighed about 35 pounds.
Yeah, you know who that is, Boris. One of the leading makeup
Jack,
artists
yeah.
in motion pictures who flew down here from Angels Camp, California, where he's working on the Ransom Broidy production Bullwhip. Your very good friend, Jack Pierce.
Yeah, guys, you gotta give it up for Jack Pierce, guys. Come on, guys.
Wonderful to see.
The best makeup man in the world.
Thank you.
What is
I owe him a lot.
Thank you. Boris, I have little remembrance for the monster that you have portrayed. And I think this will remember the days we worked day and night to create it.
Tell them what it is.
Right on the neck.
That's the little
That's the bolt.
electrical lot to connect electricity.
I used to call it the
Crazy.
Alamite.
That's
Well,
crazy.
And, Boris had to work in that heavy outfit all day, every day for, how many weeks?
18 weeks.
18 weeks, that's right.
And Boris, remember when you came out to my place at Mancino and we work outside in the yard to make the makeup.
Yeah.
Then from there we went to
Shout out to the
Malibu
Valley.
Beach.
3 o'clock in the morning, I think.
3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
that's right. Then we made the makeup and we went out to location, and after that he came back to the studio
And worked all that night.
all that night and carried Colin Clive and you back with the bloodhounds chasing you.
I remember.
What a stamina. It's wonderful to see you.
Great to see you, Jack.
Thank you. The compassion, Boris, that you gave to the character, the monster, is still considered one of the top acting achievements of the screen. Thank you, Jack Pierce.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jack.
Guys, you gotta give it up for Jack Pierce, bro. Come on, guys. He did the makeup, guys.
How many
Come
Frankenstein
on.
pictures did you actually make, Boris?
3 and 3 only.
Yes, but we remembered you too in many other notable characterizations. In The Old Dark House, The Ghoul, as Fu Manchu.
I never saw
Tower
his
of
Fu
London.
Manchu either.
That's
Tower
That
of
was Jack's
London.
work.
Yes, Jack Pierce. Many, many others too.
I never knew he played Fu Manchu. I gotta see that. I never saw Boris Karloff as Fu Manchu. What the fuck?
In 1941,
Guys, we have to
Boris,
watch
comes
that.
a chance for you to appear in a play on Broadway. What play?
Arsenic and Old Lace, my first play in New York, and I was terrified.
That's right, you've never appeared on Broadway. You almost talked yourself out of this one, but your two good friends, Howard Lindsay and Russell Krauss, producers of Arsenic and Old Lace, wanted very much to be with you here tonight, but the pressure of working on a new play made the trip west impossible this time. So here they are, speaking to you from New York, Mr. Krauss and Mr. Lindsay.
Hello, Ralph. Yes, we had found this play, Arsenic and Old Lace, a very funny and wonderful play by Joseph Kesselring. And there was a part in that play, it occurred to us, no one but Boris Karloff should play. That was an inspiration on our part. I happened to be acting in Life of Father at the time, so Russell went out to California to talk to Boris. As I remember, you met him at lunch, didn't you?
Yes, it was at Lucy's. You remember, don't you, Boris?
I do,
You hadn't the slightest idea why I'd asked you to lunch, and finally you asked. And I told you that Howard and I wanted you to appear for us in a Broadway play. And you gave me the fastest and quickest no I've ever had in my life. You said, me on Broadway? Not a chance. I've played in stock companies and road companies, but it would be very presumptuous of me to try to act on Broadway. So, inasmuch as I was stuck with the check anyway, we just sat and talked, and finally your curiosity got the better of you, and you said, what's the play about? And I told you that yours was the part of a criminal who had been done over by a plastic surgeon and made to look like Boris Karloff. You must admit, Boris, that was a pretty brilliant idea of casting.
That's crazy.
You have to credit Howard and me with that.
No one but us would have thought of casting you in that part, Boris.
That's
And you
perfectly true.
leaped at the bait. Because you said, I'll be making fun of myself. But you did lay down one condition, which was this, that it must not be the most important part in the play. Well, in the script, there were 3 or 4 other parts that looked more important. But in performance, Boris, I'm not so sure. What do you think, Buck?
Well, I think it was a very important part, both for Boris and for us. But this first luncheon, you remember, led to another luncheon, a slightly more expensive luncheon.
Yes, that other one meant, Boris, we had to pay your salary for 4 years.
Yes,
But there were 4 very happy and pleasant years for us.
they
We
were
did all right
indeed.
with it, too. Boris, we know that this is your life, but, oh, it's a big part of our life, too.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you very much, Howard Lindsay and Russell Krauss in New York.
Guys, it's still blowing my mind. We're gonna finish watching this right now, guys. It's still blowing my mind. I didn't mean to pause it, but it's blowing my mind that Boris Karloff did a Fu Manchu movie. Guys, do you know Fu Manchu? He was a super popular character back in from the 20s to the 40s and the early 50s. There was a million Fu Manchu movies. I didn't know they did one with Boris Karloff. That's crazy. It's almost like Charlie Chan. He was another character from back then that they did a million Charlie Chan movies. But Fu Manchu was a real popular character. I didn't know there was a... guys, we gotta watch the Boris Karloff Fu Manchu movie. What the fuck?
During the war, Boris, you play arsenic and old lace surrounded by a company of servicemen, and you hop from island to island, covering practically the whole South.
Tarzan, too. My bad. I didn't mean to pause about thinking, like, who are the other real... Tarzan. There was a million Tarzan movies back then, too. And, I mean, there was, like, a lot of, like, back then, there was, like, certain characters that they popped off, and they would just make a million of those movies. Abbott and Costello, of course. They made a million Abbott and Costello movies, too. You know what I mean? But although I guess it was always Abbott and Costello playing themselves, right? So I guess it's kind of different. But but like the Tarzan movies, like there was, you know what I mean? They made a million Tarzan movies. My bad, guys. I'm just rambling. But guys, we gotta watch. We gotta watch that, guys. We have to watch that.
Surrounded by. During the war, Boris, you play arsenic and old lace surrounded by a company of servicemen, and you hop from island to island, covering practically the whole South Pacific. Then you return to movies, to radio in Boris Karloff's Treasure Chest and award-winning children's program, to television in the Colonel March series, and to the theater in two great personal triumphs in the Broadway hits Peter Pan and The Lark. And then last spring,
you were the first legitimate star ever to play with an amateur group in Alaska, the Anchorage Community College Theater Workshop.
Well, that could be only one man, Boris. The director of the workshop in Anchorage, Alaska, Frank Brink. And here is Mr. Brink.
Jolly good to see you, Frank.
What play did Boris do with your group there in Alaska, Frank?
Well, of course, Ralph, arsenic and old lace.
Naturally.
And from the very beginning, Boris became part of the group. Not a star, mind you, Ralph, but just one of us. And when he found out that we were trying to raise the funds, I'm going to tell it because it needs to be told. When he discovered we were trying to raise the funds to build our own theater, he turned over every penny of his percentage of the profits to our building fund.
Damn. See, damn, you guys didn't know that one, huh? Shout out to fucking Boris Karloff. Damn, that's fire.
Boris, I want you.
That's so fire. Hold up, guys. Hold up. We gotta pause it and fucking hold up, guys. Guys, that is some real fire shit. That's some real fire shit. Like, fuck it. Just take my percentage. Here, I don't even care. Just take my shit and fucking, guys, you're good. Like, you know, I don't even need a fucking anything from this. That's so fire. That's so fucking fire.
You know that the people of Anchorage have taken you into their hearts, and they have designed a little golden trowel, which we want to give to you to let you know how grateful we'll always be for what you've done for us.
And here is the trowel right there. Thank you, Frank Brink of Anchorage, Alaska.
That's real fire, guys. I didn't hear that. That's fire.
You've got a great interest in sports, especially cricket, which is to English fans what Major League Baseball is to us. You know most of the great stars of the game. Well, then, let's see if you know this one, just by his voice. Now, you listen.
Boris? You'd been on the waiting list for membership in the Surrey County Cricket Club for I don't know how many years.
Jim Laker.
Last year, your turn finally came up. Congratulations.
He's probably the greatest bowler, like a pitcher in baseball, of all time. Last year, he set a new world's record by registering 19 wickets in one test match, which is like a pitcher pitching two consecutive shutouts on two
I like how he has to explain it because nobody in America knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody in America knows.
Consecutive days from in a World Series. Here from London, England, is your friend Jim Laker. All right. It must have been a pretty important day for Boris when he first watched a match as a member of the Surrey Cricket Club, Jim, eh?
Yes, it certainly was. You might say it was something like a regular Milwaukee fan getting a lifelong ticket to watch all the Braves. It worked pretty well in 2 days. Yes, I stood on the balcony at Lord's with Boris and we looked over this great expanse, this wonderful cricket ground, and he turned around to me and he said, well, this is like dying and going to heaven. And Boris, because you've been so loyal to all the Surrey boys, they asked me if I'd bring a cricket ball over with me, suitably inscribed, and present it to you tonight on this occasion.
Thank you, Jim Laker. One of the all-time greats of cricket for coming here tonight from London, England. This evening, Boris, like your life, would not be complete without the wonderful gal who's always at your side, who guides and counsels you in your career, and who gladly puts up with her lot as a cricket widow in England, your lovely wife, Evie.
You gotta clap it up for his wife, guys.
Oh, what a time poor Evie's been going through. You may have risen to fame as a monster on the screen, Boris, but to all of us who know you, you're a man with a great heart. A living testimony to your love of your profession is that you were one of the 20 actors who founded the Screen Actors Guild in 1933. You hold
I didn't know that. Did you guys know that?
card
I didn't know
number
that.
9. This is your life, Boris Karloff.
That's crazy. I didn't know that, guys.
Now as to your future, Boris Karloff, Ivory will, of course, see to it that you receive a film of tonight's program and this Bell & Howell sound projector to show it on, as well as this Bell & Howell 16mm movie camera. Then, too, Ivory has asked Marshall Jewelers of New York City to specially design this gold charm bracelet. Where is it? Here it is, somewhere. There's a gold charm bracelet for your wife, Evie. Here, each charm, as you know, will represent an important step in your life. When you get it. It'll be here. For you, Boris, I'll tell you about this in just a moment. This is another sort of a thing here, and they're coming out together. As a remembrance from this your life, we have this gold wristwatch and money clip. Now, you see, it has a gold replica of your membership card in the Screen Actors Guild. And we know how impressed you are with the work being done by the young people of the College Theater Workshop in Anchorage, Alaska, and how interested you are in their plans to erect their own theater. So in your name, Ivory is happy to send them a check for their building fund. Frank can take that on back. And finally, Boris, we understand that you have a birthday this coming Saturday. Isn't there someone else whose birthday falls on the same day as yours?
I believe so, yes.
Your daughter?
Yes.
Sarah Jane. Well, here she is from Sausalito, California, where she's attending Munson Business School. From San Francisco, your daughter, previous married, Sarah Jane.
Gotta give it up for his daughter, guys.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yes. Whenever possible, you've always spent your birthdays together. Oh, sit right down here by Daddy. Haven't you, Sarah Jane?
Yeah, but not this year because Dad and Evie will be on their way to New York.
Sure. Well, that's why we want you to be here tonight, Sarah Jane, so you and your dad could celebrate your birthdays right now. We have a little birthday gift for you, Sarah Jane. Marshall Jewelers wants you to have this 4-leaf clover pendant in topaz, your birthstone. Evie, you get your charm bracelet, don't worry. And you have many, many more happy birthdays together. This is your life, Boris Karloff. Good night and God bless.
Guys, how fire was that show, guys? You gotta give it up, guys. Come on, guys, you gotta give it up,
Produced by
guys.
Axel Durenberg and directed by Richard Gottlieb.
Guys, fuck it. That show, guys, This Is Your Life is such a fire. There was so many fire shows back then, guys. This Is Your Life. Fucking What's My Line? Fucking, obviously, fucking a little later on, Dick Cavett. I'm a huge Dick Cavett fan. But, guys, that was real dope. I really love that, guys. If you guys are still watching, shout out to you because I was fired. You guys, we'll be back. You know, we're doing all kinds of random old Halloween related shit, guys. So that's it, guys. Go check out my real channel, my music in the description. I'll be back.